Okay. Time for some man time. Let's dispel a myth that's been told for generations now. Young black men, young African American boys, whatever you want to call them, who frequent the street life, they're not trapped there. It's number one. They're not out of sorts because they live there. It's number two. And they're not doing what they do because they're trying to get their family out of those situations. All of those have been lies forever since they've been told. In fact, when these things are happening, these boys or these young men are doing these things because they are in rebellion to their parent or parents. And since most of these young boys in this lifestyle are raised by single mothers, most times they are refusing the love and acceptance of their mothers. I know we don't like to say this shit. The reason being is because that love and acceptance from the mother never changes. See, your mother loves you like you belong to her. That's called slavery. She doesn't love you as a free-thinking person. She wants you to do as she taught you. She wants you to be who she sees you to be, which is her baby, her son, her daughter, her child. She is humbling you forever. And people typically tend to lash out, rebel against that, because people think that humble is positive when it actually is a negative, or it is meant for something in the beginning, not necessarily forever. The opposite of humble is noble. So when someone is humbling you down, they're preventing you from becoming noble. Well, guess what? A humble person cannot have confidence. I know. It goes against everything that you've been taught. But how can you have and show and demonstrate or flex confidence? How can you know what confidence is if you're always humble, lowly, docile? I know. So anytime you see the mental illnesses and the emotional destruction of young boys and young girls, or young men and young women, or older men and women, it is because they have been humbled all their lives and not taught to be confident, because they have no nobility. They've never gotten their rites of passage. Next, when they no longer require, or they no longer have an affinity for their parents' love and acceptance, they switch that and they start looking for a different type of love and acceptance. A love and acceptance where they're doing their own thing, making their own decisions and choices, where they're also choosing their own friends and what they do. They want to be themselves. They want to think and operate for and as themselves. And so they look at people who usually give them freedom and leeway. Those turn into friends, and they look for people who can be accepted for the fuckery, right? Has nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with getting out of your situation. The only situation they want to get out of is mama's house, daddy's house. Why? For freedom to do what I want to do. Then that turns into wanting to be, once they get the acceptance, they want to be loved and revered. They want to be revered in a sense of fear. They want to feel big. That takes them into doing more extreme things. And the more they go into extreme things, they are going to eventually need protection. So then it becomes about protection. And once they feel safe in doing whatever they're doing, they're going to get the notoriety, they're going to get the acceptance, they're going to get the approval, they're going to get the protection. And during and through and after all of that, they're going to turn around and they're going to flex it on people who were right where they used to be. Translation to the new generation so that they can look up to them the way that they looked up to the others before them. You see how that works? It's simple psychology. This is how we can tell when people who have not really been in that lifestyle, but they talk about that lifestyle. Oh, I have cousins who don't make it you. Oh, I have uncles who does not make it you. Oh, I have homeboys who, oh, I used to go around, but you're not in it. You see? This is also how we can tell who's really about that and who really wants that, who feeds off of it. Truth be told, only 1% of the motherfuckers that's involved in that lifestyle actually wants the money so that they can do something else other than stunt with the money. And that shit is so rare and few and far in between, it's hard to really recognize it when you see it because most people are doing it for the stunt and not for the betterment of family. Yeah, sure, everybody wants things, but things is not betterment of family. Translation, how many street niggas, how many dope boys or dope dealers or trap stars or gangbangers or gangsters put their children in private schools and send them to higher institutions of learning? Nope. They keep them in public schools in the hood. They get rich and then they start buying more hood nigga shit. You can see it every day. You see more and more football, baseball, basketball players with brown skin from the hood. You see more rappers, more entertainers, actors, TV personalities, internet personalities who were from the hood get money and then they start getting grills. They start getting tatted up. They go buy a bunch of jewelry. They smoke weed until their lips get black and ugly. They make their skin get stale and pasty. They fuck themselves up so they can look like the niggas in the hood. Now make that make sense. But yet they have millions, mega millions sometimes. They're amongst billionaires, but they hang out with thousandaires and hundredaires or niggas who only depend on them. Protection, acceptance, notoriety, approval. That's why niggas like P and B Rock can get his shit lit up. Because even though he had the money, he wanted to be where the niggas are. When the niggas want what he have. So he trusted his want for attention over life. He chose attention over life. This is how you know when the dudes you see that are not really affiliated, they're not really in it, they don't really have it in them, they ain't really solid like that. They're pretending. And pretending is what gets them killed. So, stop letting these liberal motherfuckers come from these colleges and people come from the suburbs, even if it's your cousins, your uncles and your aunts, your family members, who they want to love you, so they want to make excuses for you, but it's a fucking lie. I know. Because it took me a while to come from outside of my stuntedness. So, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But what do I know? I'm an asshole. Anywho, like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get the conversation started. Maybe you can show me something that I'm not seeing. And until then, man time out.